Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And a good evening, everyone. This is Rich Mancuso. It's Thursday evening on November 14th, 2024. This is Keep It in the Ring, live on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe. String Punk Entertainment as well, the AGT Network, and like my Facebook page. We're here, Combat Sports, every Thursday live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for being with us again. Also, my social media handles, again, Ring786X, formerly Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, Instagram. Read my content on Latinosports.com, NewYorkSportsDay.com, String Punk Entertainment. The fights of a significance, as they are, coming up this week and next. Of course, this weekend, we're going to get to that, a lot of that this hour at the bottom of the screen. And thanks to my producer, Scott Churston, once again for coming along for the ride, helping me to put this together. And to you, as always, and I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. Well, let's get to it right away, folks. We have a long hour of content. And, of course, we're talking Tyson Paul, get to that, and Gerard Boots Ennis, and much more, to AEW, WWE, wrestling, and a lot of MMA talk tonight as well. A lot of news coming out of the MMA with John Jones. Fact of the Week and the Start are also coming your way during the hour. So let's begin right away because we have a lot to do, and we're going to break down also Tyson Paul. They just weighed in. We'll get to that as well. First, let's take a look at what happened of fights that, to me, are more valued than Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. This past weekend on the Zone from Philadelphia at the right there in Philadelphia, homecoming for Gerard Boots Ennis again, his second in a row. And after 12 rounds, he gets the unanimous decision, and as a result, retains his IBF welterweight title. 12-round unanimous decision over Korean Shukdurian Saturday night, Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia. And here are the punch stats. Sure, he defended the title well, maybe not the Gerard Boots Ennis we've seen in the past, but still a commanding win. Defending the title of 147, the mandatory was Shukdurian. He won. He scored some rounds, but not enough. Deducted. He was points for holding, and that didn't help him. Round 5, Ennis went to work, put him down with the uppercut that he's great with, especially at his weight at 147. The judges got it right. 119, 107, 117, 109, 116, 110, no doubt, from the three blind mice at ringside. The punch stats there tell the story, different from their first fight, because they had about 2 years ago that Ennis won. First fight 2 years ago, Ennis threw in this fight, though, he threw 224 of 730 punches, landed 177 to 128 in power punches. Again, as I say, punch stats always tell the story. And in this one, with those punches, Ennis was commanding, though there were some flaws you could see. Maybe he's had enough at 147. He's better at going up in weight at 154. And indeed, that came out after the fight. Ennis was asked, and he said, well, we got to look into it. His promoter, Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, said possibly go to 154 with Virgil Ortiz Jr., which quoted Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, who's got a command on the sport, especially with the Zone in Saudi Arabia. He's looking at February 22nd, Saudi Arabia, for Gerard Boots Ennis to debut at 154, where Ennis might be better. He went in the ring much heavier than 147. 154 might be the weight in a tough division as well. He's done enough at 147. That's what he thinks. That's what the boxing world kind of thinks. But Hearn is talking about Ennis maybe unifying the titles again in 147, which in boxing, as you know, my friends, can be an impossible task. Fighters will unify and then drop a title because of a sanctioning organization saying there's a mandatory coming. In this case, I think Ennis might be ready to move to 154. Young and talented he is, a superstar in the sport, one of those young ones I always mention, and Gerard Boots Ennis has done his job at 147 in a division that once had the big names of Spence and Crawford, still do, but not as powerful as it once was. And 154 would be a big step up. You got champions there, including for Sebastian Ventura. You have Charlo in that division. You got so many others that are viable that he can fight, make more money with, and do maybe a better job at 154 than he could do at 147. So Eddie Hearn is looking at moving him at 154, debut in Saudi Arabia, and that proposed date, he already said, would be February 22nd. Regardless, Gerard Boutsenis once again sold out in Philadelphia in his homecoming, and resounding welcoming for him again. He's a hero there. He's the fight guy. He's the guy in Philadelphia when it comes to boxing, along with many others, but Ennis rules, and he ruled again Saturday night in Philadelphia. Now, Eddie Hearn, we're talking about Eddie Hearn again, and Eddie Hearn was talking also Saturday night, the reinstatement of Conor Benn. From his illegal substance abuse, he had a suspension. He served it. It's over. Well, Ben is back and making noise. He wants Chris Eubanks. He wants him at middleweight. Eddie Hearn said that fight could be made. Ben against Eubanks, probably at 160. And according to Eddie Hearn, and Ben wants this fight desperately. He has a real rivalry going with Eubanks. And, so he's talking about probably making boxing history, British history, at middleweight. And when Eddie Hearn says something like that, a fight is in the works. And I wouldn't doubt at some point mid-next year, you'll see Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks settle the score, probably in the UK, if not in Saudi Arabia, where the kings and princes reign with all the money. To be determined. Of course, we'll keep you posted. You fight fans know where the action is, and we'll keep you posted on that. But Saturday night after Ennis, Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn showcased again this guy, WBC Super Flyweight champ Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. Here's a young man, another superstar in the sport who's dominant. What a punch he has. Undefeated, 21-0, 22 knockouts, easily dominated a former champion Pedro Guevara, third-round knockout, 64 of 183 punches landed, 42 power shots. He dropped Guevara twice in the second round, in the third and final round, where it ended coming at 247. No doubt about this one from the beginning. This kid is a threat to anyone, especially at his weight. So what's next for Bam Bam, who many say is in that top 10 of pound for pound best in the sport? What's next for this young superstar? Well, there's Iowa in Japan, who has some of the titles, considered by many pound for pound top 3 in the sport, next to Terence Crawford, maybe in Canelo Alvarez, or Fernando Martinez, or Choquito Gonzalez, the veteran. That's an option for Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. He's quick. He's good. He's exciting. Eddie Hearn loves him. He's with the right promoter at Matchroom, and he can only go up further in the ranks in this sport. So Boom Boom continues and is dominant. What are your thoughts? Comments. Subscribe to my channel, Rich Mancuso, here at Keep It in the Ring, YouTube, and let me know. All right. So, boxing cards are being dominated, as you know, on the Zone, because the Zone has Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, and various other promoters that go on that streaming network. Gone are the days of TV boxing. Once HBO and Showtime went, and my good friend Keith Heidick wrote about this on Yahoo.com just yesterday, ESPN and Top Rank in their contract might be soon over by next year. They may not renew their fight deal with Top Rank, which leaves you to another question. Where would Top Rank go? Maybe the Zone as well. They're dominating the sport, and you can't see a fight on free TV no more. Again, especially when HBO went out of the business about a decade ago, and of course Showtime just recently. So where do we go with this? Boxing's healthy. Streaming networks continue to make it healthy when it comes to a financial standpoint. Competition-wise, putting fights on streaming networks, it depends up to you, the fan, the consumer. Do you want to spend more to watch boxing? Pay-per-view revenue is down. Pay-per-view boxing is almost obsolete. Doesn't do as good as it once did, but the zone continues to thrive. And you see that every weekend, if not every other weekend, especially now with the fall calendar coming to an end and the boxing year soon coming to an end, the zone has most of the major fights on the calendar. Watch out for that, especially more in the new year. Eddie Hearn and now Oscar De La Hoya more intense with his promoting his fighters on the zone as well as other networks. All right, here's another guy. We have to talk about him too. That was on that same card in Philadelphia. And you got to look at the former champ Raymond Ford. First fight at 130, decisive win over Orlando Gonzalez. Ford, after his loss to Bell, said he was going to 130, and surely did. And it's going to be good at 130 for Ford. Stephen Saucy, it's not really boxing. It's like the WWF. It's entertaining. But if it goes the way I think it will be, like the old Tyson days of 28 seconds, meaning probably the knockouts, then we will upset good at 90%. Thanks for your comments, Stephen. Good points there, my friend. Thanks for watching. Also Saturday night, and this in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, former champ Sobrio Mateus at 140. Remember, he lost to Lehman Para, his title, second round TKO, though, over the weekend in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, over Ricardo Ramirez. He's on his way back. You can't put Mateus down too long. In Puerto Rico, first time back with Matchroom Homecoming, he lost the title to Paro. That was a disaster for him. Came back strong. 2 knockouts in round 2. Devastating body shot, and he gets the win. And now looking once again to face maybe Paro in a rematch, which is very possible. But Paro and Eddie Hearn are together. That could be very much in the cards also for the new year. Congratulations on the comeback win, Sobrio Mateus over Roberto Ramirez. And that same card in Puerto Rico, put up some of the results. We have them, Scott. A good card as it was on payperview.com. Rodriguez Vasquez, Adriel Ortiz, and Gonzalez. He wins that by unanimous decision. And this was a good one. Javier Cintron over Martinez, unanimous decision for a Alphabet Soup International Bantamweight title belt. Still an international bantamweight title belt gets a ranking, gets you going. Javier Cintron with the unanimous decision. A good card in Puerto Rico and Bayamon were at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum or the Ruben Coliseum. I know that area real well. I visited there many times, going back there again real soon. And the fight fans all of a sudden excited because boxing in Puerto Rico is back. Got a big one coming up on December 7th in San Juan. Paro's defending his title against Richard Hitchens there. So Puerto Rico and boxing going together again, back strong. Of course, so many fighters in this illustrious sport, champions and now champions again now currently, and in the past, Hall of Famers from the great island of Puerto Rico. And it continues. And Mateus, congratulations again on his comeback win. So go back to Philadelphia. Now we can look at this one. Going to go back to the Wells Fargo Center from Saturday because you got to be impressed by the light heavyweight, Manny Gallegos. Improved to 21-2-1 with 18 knockouts. A 24-1 underdog. And in the sport, if you're an underdog like that, you're not going to win, according to everyone. Well, he fooled all the skeptics because this young man has the talent as a light heavyweight. A 9th-round knockout over the undefeated Kalali Ko, a major upset of the year in the sport. Cole went down 4 times because Gallegos has a great jab and a great punch, great footwork, everything that looks like he's destined, if not, I will tell you, to be a champion soon in the light heavyweight division. That's also very competitive with Dimitra Bivol, the champ. No longer the champ, rather. Bertaviv is the champ. Bivol this year, of course, just a month or so ago, lost his titles to Bertaviv. But that young man right there, from Mexico, Gallegos, he's going to be an active fighter in the new year. He's coming on strong. And as my friend from TD Sports, Thomas, says, and he's going to be on with us in a moment, Khalid Ko is good. Big upset. Save that thought, Thomas, so when you come on the air with us in a few minutes, and we'll talk more about Gallegos and that fight with Ko. All right, let's take a look at some more boxing news before we go into the big news with Mike Tyson and, of course, Jake Paul. And I got a lot to say about that. If you didn't read my columns this week on Latino sports and also New York Sports Day and String Punk Entertainment. So, let's get to let's get to the showcase. The Top Rank continues to showcase, and that being the lightweight for Sean Davis. Friday night, ESPN, Scope in Norfolk, Virginia, a homecoming for the young man. He devastated. I mean, he annihilated Gustavo Lemos, and this, you expected better from Lemos, who came in overweight, but still got to fight. 3 times Lemos went down in round 2. Davis, the top-ranked superstar, the youngster, rated the Olympic silver medalist, number 3 lightweight in the world, with 12 wins, 12-0, 8 knockouts, and he's rated. That's how good he is. He's got Hall of Fame promoter Bob Barham and Top Rank behind him. That has something to do with it. The young man's got talent. He knocked Lemos down. He annihilated him. Dropped Lemos down 3 times in round 2. No fight, and it was over. What do you think about Kershawn Davis? Does he have a chance at 135 in a lightweight division that still has a lot of esteem and credibility in boxing? Davis might fight 3 times in the new year. His people at Top Rank tell me that might be the plan. Fighters don't fight 3 times a year or 4. Very rare. But he might do it because he's elevated to this Top Rank with a top rank status among the various sanctioned organizations in the sport. So Kershawn Davis continues to propel himself at a young age. Again, this has been a year of the rising and continuing rise of the young superstars in the sport. Davis is one of them. But let's move on and talk about my favorite guy every week, Ryan Garcia. Scott, put the tweets up. He was on Instagram today, and he said that it's time for him to find a coach to golf. He wants to become a golfer now. Sure, he's got a lot of time. He's still suspended, but look at this. He went after Boots Ennis. Look at these comments. And he says that Boots would get knocked out by him. He said the referee sucked. And Eddie Hearn got to stop calling his fighters legends. Well, Eddie Hearn does do that, but because he promotes his fighters really well. But Ryan Garcia is now on a rampage with Boots Ennis, and he's on a rampage with Eddie Hearn. He goes on a rampage every day or every other day on X, formerly Twitter, on Instagram, because he's not fighting. We don't see him training. We see photos of him, but we don't see him training. But he says he can't wait to get back to work in the gym and fighting competitively again. But he's a student of the sport. He watches almost every fight show. He tries to go to as many of his shows as he can. And the kings and princes in Saudi Arabia would love to have him the suspension that he has here in the United States imposed by the New York State Athletic Commission will not prevent him if he has to go to Saudi Arabia and take a fight, which he said, as I said last week and showed you, the Saudis want him. Maybe in January. Ryan Garcia keeps saying he has a big announcement coming, and that the January date in Saudi Arabia may be the one towards his comeback in the new year after the suspension. Regardless, he continues with these rants and raves on his social media forums because he's a phenom at that with millions of followers, and he gets the attention. And now he goes after Boots Ennis, goes after Eddie Hearn. And Boots Ennis, when asked about this after his fight in the post-fight presser, said this. He laughed. I don't care what Ryan Garcia says. Well, neither do we, but we have to because he's always a part of the attention. Funny. Really, really funny. And now he wants to hire a coach to golf. I wouldn't know. I don't golf no more. Anyone know a golf coach for Ryan Garcia? Scott? Do you know a golf coach for Ryan Garcia? We'll send it to him. Maybe it'll keep him busy on the links instead of tweeting and Instagramming foolish things that he continually says. All right. More boxing news. And this guy, Jaime Munguia, he's got another fight coming up. And here's a guy who says he can fight 4 times a year, and he will the 4th time this year. Of course, he lost to Canelo Alvarez just months ago. Gave Canelo a fight. 2 Mexican warriors. Munguia, homecoming, Tijuana, Mexico. He, with 44 wins, a loss, and 35 knockouts. December 14th, homecoming for him in Tijuana versus Bruno Cerise, undefeated from France. That's who he's got in Tijuana. Homecoming for Munguia. Top rank ESPN has it December 14th. 4th fight for Munguia this year. So talking about fighters that might fight 3-4 times a year, there's your guy, Jaime Munguia. Classic. When a fighter can fight 3-4 times a year. You just don't see that much anymore, do you? All right. Saturday night's the attention before we go into tomorrow night's escapade spectacle with Paul Tyson. Because Golden Boy, Lou DiBella, they and a couple other promoters have a great show in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season. And the final press conference was today. The weigh-in is tomorrow. And it's Gilberto Ramirez, a former champion, former light heavyweight champ. And he's going to fight Chris Billin Smith, WBA cruiserweight title. This is a cruiserweight championship fight. Smith, the WBO cruiserweight title holder. And we're going to see what Ramirez has as a cruiserweight once again Saturday night. That on the zone from Saudi Arabia. Ramirez, a Golden Boy fighter. And it's a good card overall. You have 5 good fights. And this is one of those boxing cards you have to say that the sport is healthy. And the reason, again, is because you have the promoters, Eddie Hearn and here and Oscar De La Hoya, working together at times. But now you have Lou DiBella and Farmer, his fighter, on the card. And you have the kings and princes of Saudi Arabia who want these promoters and the fighters. They say they can make the fights. And my friends, I got to say this. The action right now is not in Las Vegas. It's not in the United States. You get the show here and there, but the big fights are in Saudi Arabia because the kings and princes have the money to do it. They've got the zone as the network. And they want to do it. And they're very vocal about it. And they want to make sure to tell you that you won't have to pay a lot of money to watch it. All good for the sport. All good, except we can't see the fights here live in the United States, which is a shame. But if you have boxing and it's healthy, and the Saudi Arabians, the kings and princes, as I say, want to do it in Saudi Arabia, and you have the forums and the streaming networks, the zone to do it, then by all means, that's all good, don't you think? All right, Caden, we're going to get to that. Titan slap Paul. I didn't see it because we're on the air, but I'm sure we're going to get more about that in a moment when we talk about back to that card Saturday night. And Jose Ramirez is on that card, the former champion who lost to Josh Taylor. He lost his title a few years back. And Arnold Barbosa Jr., they're playing at 140, undefeated as Barbosa Jr. It's a stacked card. Highlighted again with Smith against Ramirez, cruiserweight title up for grabs. And of course, we get to this now, and I'm going to bring my guest in as well to talk about it. Netflix first time boxing extravaganza tomorrow night, Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium, where home of the Dallas Cowboys. 60,000 or more fans will set a record attendance-wise outside of Las Vegas. I wrote enough about this week on NewYorkSportsDay.com, LatinoSports.com, and also at Stream Punk Entertainment. You're going to see two names that people want to see. Now, do you want to see close to 60-year-old Mike Tyson back in the ring again? And do you want to see Jake Paul once again try and say he's become or he is the best in the world? And he's not, because he hasn't fought quality opponents as of yet. And Mike Tyson, to me, is not a quality opponent. I don't know what to expect from this fight. They weighed in. There was some pushing and shoving, what we just saw. Get more sense about this now. Let me bring in Tommy D, my good friend, Thomas, who has a show also on YouTube and Facebook. And I welcome in Keith Colon, a featherweight out of Newark, New Jersey, undefeated 2-0, 2 knockouts, fighting November 30th on a legitimate boxing card. Danny Swift Garcia in Philadelphia, who I've covered many of his fights, now promoting, the former welterweight champion, a good one he was. Got a great card set up November 30th. Might have Swift on next week, but I got one of his fighters on that card with us now, at Keith Colon. Guys, thanks for joining us. Keith, how are you, champ?
All is well. I can't complain. How are you?
I'm good. Just ranting and raving like I always do on Thursday night, you know? And Thomas, my buddy, how are you? I can't hear you, Thomas.
It would help if I turn the mute off. But
Oh, that would be good. Would you get knocked out by Mike Tyson?
No, I got slapped by Mike Tyson. Did you? That's what he just did.
Yeah, what did I miss? I got to watch the weigh-in. I didn't see the whole thing. I understand that Tyson slapped Jake Paul. I have to look at it, and I will. I'm going to go to my phone and look at it in a moment as we talk. And what about the weights? How much did Tyson weigh?
I didn't get the weight. I just saw like clips of it just now, like of the slap. So I mean, to me, it looked staged. It just looked like a WWE script, but you never know. It just looked, kind of weak. It was like a light.
And the Jake Paul,
it was
all week long. All week long, we were looking at the back and forth. Oh, there it is. My goodness, yeah. Scott's got it up. That boy is my great producer. There it is, and you kind of expected this, didn't you?
But it looks staged. It looks. I mean, I don't know. It didn't look like a big time slap. I mean, Caleb Plant smacked Canelo harder than that. So I don't know, but I'm not too into the fight tomorrow. I mean,
no, neither am I. All along, and I've been saying since they announced this, it was postponed in July. Tyson is a health risk. Had the ulcer problem that postponed the fight. Now we come to this, and you got to wonder what this 58-year-old icon has and how many punches are going to be legitimate and done. It's strictly, and Keith Colon, I want your opinion on this, my friend. Strictly to me, an extravaganza, as I wrote. Tyson needs money. He's going to make a lot of money. So is Paul. Netflix has close to what? 1 billion subscribers almost, Thomas, right?
Like
A lot of those people are going to watch. A lot of people are going to subscribe. Netflix getting into boxing the first time, going to make more money. And people are going to buy into it because of the names. Keith, what do you think of all this?
I think, it's good for boxing in a way. It's kind of bringing with Mike Tyson being a great, he's well respected in the sport. It's kind of bringing boxing back to life. Even though I feel like it's been coming into its own again. But fight wise, I believe honestly, if Mike catch him within the first 3 rounds, he got a good shot at taking him out because he don't look too far off. Yeah, he's older, much. He's not the same Mike that he was. They're gonna be in 16 hours. Well, not they're not gonna be in like 10
Yeah,
minutes.
it's not a regular fight. They're 2 minute rounds, which is another
Exactly.
reason why I have no interest in it. The gloves are not heavyweight regulated either. They're 14 ounce.
Exactly. So
So it's purely to me just a spectacle, an extravaganza. Now, Keith, did you buy into this fight? Are you interested in it as a pro fighter yourself? And add to that, um, does Jake Paul help the sport?
I'm also interested in the undercard or
Yeah,
like
we're going to
like the
talk
fight
about that
before
as
that.
well. Yeah,
I
that's
like
why I
fight.
want to watch it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
also tuned in for Amanda Serrano, Shushu, Shadeja Green, those fighters.
right, we have. We'll tell you that Amanda Serrano, who's with Jake Paul MVP Promotions, she credits Paul for propelling her career, and she has every right to. And this is the long anticipated rematch with Katie Taylor from 2 years ago at Madison Square Garden that sold out in history at the Garden. First time two females headlined a fight card at Madison Square Garden. And, Taylor took the title from her. Serrano has got the rematch. And there's also Mario Barrios and Abel Ramos. 12 rounds, legitimate. Want to see that one for the WBC welterweight title. Talking about the welterweight division just moments ago with Gerald Boots Ennis. So there's the interest. Don't you guys agree with me?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Listen, Rich. I mean, the undercard. If you think about it, one thing that Jake Paul has done well for the sport. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of people, who like boxing are not really big fans of female women's boxing. So this brings more attention to it because they see Tyson and they promote this fight with Serrano and Katie Taylor, and they're going to see a great fight, and it's a win for boxing in that situation. Another
And
thing,
that
just
I
so you know,
agree.
I don't know if you know this, but Keith Cologne has sparred with Amanda Serrano.
All right, Keith. So you know Amanda very well. Now, how did you meet her, Amanda Serrano? Before we go back to Tyson and Paul, how did you meet her, and what got you to spar? That kind of unusual that you got a male fighter sparring with a female. How did that go? Where did it happen? How did it develop?
I was about, if I'm not mistaken, 16, 17 when I first met her in Sparta. We was actually there's a coach by the name of Gary Starks. He's like a OG of mine.
I,
He's
I know
been
Gary well.
around, and
Yeah.
he was helping Amanda, and I even say like he's like Amanda's OG too. So he always giving us gems, and we was actually, I think it was during COVID. That's when we actually linked up, and there wasn't many gyms to go around to, so we all went to Gary gym, and she had a fight coming up soon, and we was training together, sparring together. Then it ended up us having a great relationship. At the time I was still amateur. She even went to one of my fights back here in Newark, so she always been showing me love since day one.
So that's Keith Cologne, who's fighting November 30th. A young man who's moving up the ranks. He's 2-0 and he's going to maybe 3-0 coming up November 30th, Philadelphia on Danny Swift Garcia's promotion. It's actually in Atlantic City, that fight at a venue I never heard of. It's called the AX1 Studios in Atlantic City
Caesar,
on the boardwalk.
Caesars.
Yeah, so I might be down there to see that as well. Keith, let's get back to Amanda Serrano, because obviously that first fight with Katie Taylor propelled female boxing and put it on the map. Even
Right.
though she and Katie Taylor are the top two females in the sport earning money, a lot of these female fighters don't make a lot of money. Nowhere near with the guys make. So they're helping them tremendously. Do you like Serrano in the rematch, Keith?
Definitely. I feel as though the first fight it was a close one. I feel like it was a toss up. So depending on your point of view or like what you like coming into the fight, dictated the decision. But I feel like Amanda got the skills, and not only the skills but the IQ. She's a smart boxer. She's super powerful, and I feel like this time if even it, I'm not sure if it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes, but I know one point in time they was trying to get it to 3 minutes, and if it's 3 minutes,
Yeah,
I feel like Amanda definitely is gonna be victorious.
I believe it's still 2 minute rounds for them.
Yeah,
Am I right, Thomas?
Katie didn't want to do the 3 minute rounds. So yeah,
Right.
Amanda wanted 3 minute rounds. Katie Taylor did not want to do 3 minutes. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
and Amanda wanted to do 12 rounds. So
Right.
it's a 10 round 2 minute fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the issue with the females in the sport. And they were all trying to go the 3 minute route and 12 round route so they can make more money, obviously. And eventually that will happen because Amanda Serrano's a good spokesperson for the sport. There's no doubt about it, as well as Katie Taylor. So we're going to see a good one on the card on Netflix tomorrow night with that. Let's get back, though, to the center of attention, a fight that, to my opinion, again, Thomas, you said you looks like it's scripted, and you wonder, when is Jake Paul, Tyson or not, going to consider himself to be the best? He says he's the best, and he wants to fight the best. There's the tail of the tape. You see, there's a big difference in age, almost 28 years between Paul and Tyson. And Keith, I'm sure you weren't even born when Mike Tyson was fighting, right?
Nah, I wasn't. I wasn't around. I wasn't around at
Okay,
that
so
time.
right. So you're going to get to see Mike Tyson probably fight for the first time as a 58-year-old, retired, last fought in 2005 against, and that was when he had to retire because he had no gas left in him at all. That was retirement against who was that? McBride, the other heavyweight. Yeah. And then he fought an exhibition.
Yeah,
he fought an exhibition a few years ago with Roy Jones Jr. where it was silly, as I wrote. They didn't even punch and hit each other. I'm going to ask both you guys, Thomas first and then Keith, is this a risk for Mike Tyson? I'm scared of his health. That he might be. The commission there in Texas says he's fit to fight. He's passed all medical protocols. Are you worried about the health of Mike Tyson after this fight or during the fight? Keith, go first.
No, I'm not. I'm not worried about Mike. I feel as though behind the scenes, Jake and Mike, they good friends. That's my opinion. I feel as though, they put on a show, for the people and to stir at the pot, but really behind the scenes, they do. This is a no brainer. Why not make money with your friend and not get hurt? I feel as though that's the whole scheme behind it. And I don't think Jake could do anything to Mike Tyson. Like if he see something, he'll save him. That's what I believe. Or one of the wrestlers save him. And plus, Mike, he's a fighter. He know how to survive. Ultimately, once you get to that high level, I don't care who it is in front of you, you'll survive.
But that was years ago. We're looking now at 2024. So many years later, he looks in great shape. He weighed in. He looked good. But I don't think you're going to see a 50-year-old have the skills that he had when he was 20, 25 years old, when he was in his prime.
Well, I don't think he's going to have the skills that he had, 30, 35 years ago. But I think it's like Keith said. I totally agree with Keith. He's going to know how to survive, and he's going to know how to protect himself, and he's going to know how to get dirty if he needs to get dirty. I mean, he's
the dirtiest man in the planet. I know.
Not only he's a boxer, he's a fighter. So I think as far as his health is concerned, I think he'll be all right. Just a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you know this, Chop Corley's still fighting. He's like 50 years old, and he looked good in a fight that some say he won. Still fighting professionally. I don't know why at 80-something fights.
George Foreman fought till he was 50 as well.
Yeah, so I think he'll be okay. It's 2-minute rounds. He looks good. And he's fighting a guy that's not really a boxer. I mean,
But my question, guys, is why would any athletic commission, and I understand the politics of it because there's a lot of money involved here. Both these guys are going to make a lot of money tomorrow night. Let's face it. Why would any athletic commission sanction his fight and let it go on? Just do an exhibition like he did with Roy Jones. I think this is bad for the sport, despite what Jake Paul does for fighters on his MVP promotions cards. I'm not taking that away from him. Despite Jake Paul does what gets his purses to gyms in Puerto Rico and helps a lot of, and I know a couple of gyms there that got a lot of support from Jake Paul. Despite all that, I think this fight is bad for the sport. And you're going to bring in people to watch the sport, but won't watch it again only because you got the names of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I want your take on that, both of you.
The only thing that I don't like about the fight is, Mike is a great. He's one of the greats. He's a legend in the sport, and like if Jake Paul does win, on paper, he could be looked at one of the greats because he beat a great. I just feel like to get to that point, where you face when you in a ring and the person across from you is a legend. I feel like you just can't come up in the sport that easy. But I just hope that everything works out positive for both fighters, Mike and Jake. It propels them in their life. Like I think they said Mike gonna make 20 million at 50 years old.
Yeah, he needs the money because he owes a lot of money to the government. Yeah, that's why he's doing this too.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm just more excited, that the people that's actually on the card, the undercard, they're gonna get more eyes on them.
Yeah.
Mike and Jake. So that's just what I appreciated. The fighters that actually, been a dream. Their whole career, their whole life. They actually getting more eyes on them, more opportunities. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thomas, your take on that?
I totally agree. I think this it's good for boxing. I mean, I know the main event itself is not an actual good fight for boxing, but I think the total event and the way they did it, they're using the big names to sell an event. I think it's good for boxing. Anytime you can sell tickets and you have a good gate, you got the interest of the fans.
No, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get a record tomorrow. They're gonna have a record gate.
A record gate outside of Vegas, supposedly, for a boxing event.
Yeah.
So,
again, it's because of the names. They want to see Mike Tyson again in the ring. I don't. They want to see Jake Paul because he's got this social media following and he's making a name for himself. But look, Jake Paul, at 27 years of age, has 11 career pro fights. Tyson, 58 years old, as we showed, 58 fights in his career, the Hall of Famer, has nothing else to achieve. That's my point. Be an ambassador for the sport. To me, this is not being an ambassador of the sport. You're fighting a guy, to me, who might have some positives that he does for the sport, but is a total joke because he doesn't fight anyone.
No, I get that. But think about, let's say a guy like Bruce Carrington, who's big here in New York. He's probably
he's on the card. Good point.
Here in New York State. Yeah, maybe a lot of people on the West Coast and people don't know him. But think about all the people that watch this event and maybe at the arena they get to see a Bruce, Shushu Carrington perform like they've never seen before, and they're like, and they put eyes on this guy. Now you bring attention to him, and that goes for the rest of the fighters that are on the card. I mean, I think it's a good thing for boxing. I know we don't want to see these, WWE style stuff, but listen, I'm a fan of WWE because I watch wrestling too, right?
Why? We do it on the program.
Anything that helps the sport, and I think it does help the sport, because look, there's a record going to be broken tomorrow. People are interested, and that's good, so I'm okay with it.
Keith, one other question to you. Does Jake Paul inspire you?
Inspired me. I mean, he inspired me to help other people. I feel as though once you get to the top, and you accomplish everything that you got, the only thing you could do now is just look back and put your hand out and just see how many people you could, help come up. And I feel as though by him helping Amanda Serrano because she's Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican. I feel like that automatically helps me. I appreciate everything he's done for the sport, and I feel like I consider him a real fighter. He trains hard. I feel as though now you just gotta respect him.
Oh boy, Keith Cologne gave the right keep it in the ring answer. Terrific, champ. Guys, before I let you go, and you could both take a crack at the fact of the week in a moment. Your predictions. What do you think tomorrow night? Thomas?
I think it goes decision, and I think they give Mike Tyson the win. I think
Oh, wow.
because I mean it would be very bad if Tyson loses as far as legacy is concerned.
So
right?
basically, you think this
Tyson wins the
again?
decision.
You think it's script? You think it's scripted?
I think it's gonna be somewhat scripted. They're gonna,
Okay.
All
right. Which isn't good for the sport either.
No.
All right, Keith. What do you think tomorrow? What's the outcome?
Before I say my prediction, do any one of you guys know how many rounds it is?
It's an 8-round fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I believe the sports books have. I believe Tyson's a heavy favorite as well. Am I right?
Yes.
And some of the sports books, because of the logistics of this fight, are not taking it. Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Colorado, just 3 of them that I mentioned. Good for them, because I don't think this fight's gonna make a lot of money. That's all it comes down to. All right. So
I just looked. It's eight rounds.
Yeah, and Keith. Okay, so what do you think, Keith? What's your prediction?
With it being 8 rounds, I feel as though I see just me being in the ring, me knowing boxing. I feel as though Jake Paul is gonna edge him out just because of the fact that Mike is old. I feel as though if he don't catch within the first 3 rounds, his old man is gonna kick in on him, man. He's not gonna be able to that's a long fight.
Yeah, I have no prediction on it. I don't care who wins. I just want this to end nothing but a spectacular and extravaganza. They're going to make a lot of money. Guys, before you go, both of you take a crack at the fact of the week. Every week, keep it in the ring. My guests get it. You ready, guys? Here you go. It's not trivia. It's a fact. And it's about Mike Tyson. What made him a fan favorite? And it wasn't because he was the youngest heavyweight champion of the world to get the heavyweight championship. But what made Tyson a big fan favorite? Can either of you take a shot at that, the fact?
I'll say his knockouts.
Yeah, that's
well, kind of, but that's not the exact answer. But you're close, Keith. What about you, Tom?
I think it's something to do with the knockouts. I don't know exactly.
All right.
Was it like the first 18 fights, 18 KOs in one round?
No, what made him a fan favorite? What made him a fan favorite? And again, this was before before even Keith Cologne was born. His DQ of the Biting of the Year of Evander Holyfield. Remember that? 1997, the rematch that caused a lot of curiosity, and the fact is true. That made him a fan favorite. Fans love that.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if he's going to bite Jake Paul's ear tomorrow night because Paul's wearing something on his ears to prevent that. So we saw that, and he said at the press conference yesterday. So we'll see. But that's what made him popular. The DQ of Evander Holyfield because he bit his ear in the rematch in 1997 in Las Vegas, where I was at ringside. Still can't believe it to this day. That's okay. Guys, this has been great. We can go on and on about it. Enjoy the fight tomorrow night. That's Tommy D from TD Sports Talk. Tom, where did they reach you? He's a big part of this program as well. How do fans get you, Tom?
They can reach me on YouTube here on TD Sports Talk. They could reach me. Just put in my name, Thomas Dillemuth, in the search engine on YouTube, and you'll find me. And you can also catch me on Ring Talk Worldwide every Sunday on the radio.
And your thoughts about Cole were also very good earlier. Thanks for your contribution about that. We've seen some great fights this past couple of weeks and this year overall. Tom, we'll be talking again. Thank you. And to Keith Cologne, that young man right there, featherweight, Newark, New Jersey, undefeated 2-0, 2 knockouts, back in the ring again in Atlantic City. at the ACX1 Studios. Danny Swiftguard getting a promotion to former welterweight champion. Hey, Keith, thanks for coming on at the last minute. Your thoughts were great. Your opinions were great. And I know as good as you fight, you talk just as well. And your fist will do the talking come November 30th, Atlantic City. I hope to be there, my friend, to see you live and up front. We'll get to know each other and talk more often. Thank you very much.
All right.
Keep it in the ring, guys. Thank you. That was great. Tommy D and Keith Cologne taking time. We talked about Tyson Paul as best we could. We got a lot more to come. It's going to be fast and rapid here at Keep It in the Ring. Up next, the pro wrestling, UFC, nostalgia, and much more. Just keep it in the ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Brief timeout. Back after this.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Pandemonium coming up. We'll keep you updated on that. Middle of March, ACW. And more comments coming in. Thank you for joining us tonight. Keep it in the ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Good for boxing, he feels, with Tyson and Jake Paul. He feels Jake Antiques pissed Mike off. The antics. He's ready to fight. That's all that it was. It was a good show. Entertainment. I don't think it was fake. We're going to get a real fight. I hope you're right. I don't think so, but I hope you're right. And thanks for your comment. UFC. Let's talk that. And let's talk about it brief and fast. Heavyweight John Jones making a lot of news. He's in New York at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. UFC on ESPN pay-per-view. John Jones is giving some leverage. He says that he's going to retire from the octagon if he doesn't get more opponents to excite him. And what he means is he wants Alex Pereira. He's a heavyweight champ, Pereira light heavyweight. And John Jones wants that. And Dana White says no. You either go my way, you're not getting Pereira, at least for now. You do my way or just retire, walk away. Jones in the Garden tomorrow night at the UFC. It's a good card, by the way. Michael Chandler in the octagon again after a 2-year layoff, facing Charles Oliveira. UFC 309. He's still waiting, Chandler, for Conor McGregor, and this is his chance now to tune up. McGregor says he'll be ready for it in the new year. Chandler wants him. They've been looking at it for the last year. It might happen. Chandler first has to win in the octagon Saturday night. UFC 309 at Madison Square Garden. But John Jones giving an ultimatum to Dana White, the promoter. And Dana White, he doesn't take bullshit. He's told John Jones, you do it my way or walk away. He has to take this fight against Steve Miocic tomorrow night or Saturday night, Madison Square Garden on ESPN Plus. Something to look at. Really very interesting. These developments happened today at their final weigh-in before they fight at the final presser. The weigh-in is tomorrow at the Garden. But a lot going on in UFC at Madison Square Garden, UFC 309 Saturday night, ESPN Plus. And UFC returns to London next year. That made that announcement at the O2 Arena, March 22nd. So, more about UFC next week. And thanks again. Another comment, by the way, just the fight tomorrow on Netflix is going to be astronomical numbers. We know that. Going to make history, guarantee. Why? As what is a guy in there from India. They got it they got it right. So yeah, there's an undercard fighter from India as well. His name eludes me at the moment, but again, the highlight's going to be Tyson and Paul, as we discussed, and I want to see Serrano and Taylor. I'm more interested in that rematch anyway for the women featherweight title. Let's go to WWE real quick and take a look at this, because Alex Pereira, who I just talked about, shows up with Roman Reigns up in Buffalo at SmackDown last Friday night. And there's the image of it. That's part of more of you're going to see WWE, UFC, the MMA guys with WWE guys, that the merger of Endeavor Kiteo with WWE. And there it is. Roman Reigns, a champion. Alex Pereira, the champion, with a cameo shot. I thought that was good. They talk business, and you're going to see more of that. As I say, the crossover, as it's called. All right, Survivor Series coming up with WWE, but the news of John Cena going to be in the Royal Rumble, looking for a win there the third time. You probably get it, and might even get Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania or one of these shows, because the winner of the Royal Rumble gets to pin any champion he wants. John Cena on his retirement tour, and one of those is the big Royal Rumble match coming up in January, and Cena for the third time looking to win it, and he probably will. It's his retirement tour. What do you think? No Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. Here's the poster. It's officially out. It's been out. We'll show it to you. Why is not the champion at the Survivor Series? I still feel he'll be there, but not competing competitively. Somehow, Cody Rhodes, the champion's got to be there. Come on. But Rhodes against Cena, that could happen. A lot of teasing about The Rock and Cody and Roman Reigns maybe heading towards WrestleMania, the three of them together, triple threat, whatever it be. And then you're hearing that the double tapings. What I don't like is when AEW or WWE do spoiler. You got to get the spoilers, because what's going on, WWE has decided, now that Vince McMahon is not as out of the picture, give their talent a break. And so what they're doing towards this holiday season that has officially begun almost, to give the guys a break. And so they're not doing live Raws every week until January. They're going to be doing double tapings, and they're doing it again. This Monday Night Raw coming up on Monday was taped already. You want to know what happened? Go to the spoiler alerts all over the websites, and you'll find out. I don't think that's good. Ratings could go down because you, the fans, unless you really want to watch it and already know the results. That's going on. Rhea Ripley's back. That was a surprise. Sooner than expected, she attacked, as you know, Liv Morgan as they get ready to battle, because Rhea Ripley wants that women's title back, and indeed she will get it. I just don't know when, because Morgan keeps demolishing her with Dirty Dom. Damian Priest and Gunther, they're going to go at it again for the world title at the Survivor Series. And how about Miz and the New Testament and the Wyatt Six and that whole angle getting interesting? The New Day about to break up. That's happening. They've been teasing that. It's going to happen. It might even happen as soon as in 2 weeks. I don't think it's happening Monday night. I didn't hear that in the spoilers, but they continue to feud, these two great friends and tag team champions, for a long time. And again, John Cena in the Royal Rumble again makes it very interesting. And I expect Judgment Day to officially be gone before you know it. You see it. Carlito hasn't been around. And you see Finn Balor always questioning things. And Dirty Dom is more with Liv Morgan. So I think the Judgment Day angle's over. But the Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, Survivor Series, who will the fifth member be? Sami Zayn is now with the Usos and Reigns. And then I expect Seth Rollins being teased about it. I expect Seth Rollins to be the fifth member. You could see this happening. And Zilla Fatu, the new Uso coming into the fold, could be with Solo Sikoa. He's the newest Bloodline member, one of the cousins, very talented, young, strong, probably with Sikoa. And Paul Heyman, the return, probably at the Survivor Series. Everyone looking forward to that. All right, AEW news real quick. Full Gear coming up. November 23rd, Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. Strickland and Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Syndicate. They want Bobby Lashley, wants Strickland, and he's going to eventually get him. Prince Nahmed gets attacked on Dynamite last night. Lashley doing a job on Strickland again. They're going to battle it out at Full Gear, which is a good pay-per-view event coming up November 23rd. NJF and Strong will go at it at Full Gear. John Moxley, Orange Cassidy, and Will Ospreay against his protege, Kyle Fletcher. Or guys, not protege, guys that they know each other real well. That's coming up at Full Gear. So a lot going on in the pro wrestling business. More next week as we get ready for Survivor Series, the end of the month. Full Gear, November 23rd for AEW Newark, New Jersey. Try to get an AEW superstar on the show, working on that as well. These things are impossible sometimes to do. Scott, one more brief timeout, real brief. Come back, break, wrap it up with nostalgia, something else. Keep it in the ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Stay with me. Stay with us. Back in a real. All right, keep it in the ring, wrapping it up. We're going a little over at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for joining me. As always, get me, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Rich Mancuso, the Stream Punk Entertainment as well, the AGT Network, and like the Keep It in the Ring page. I thank you once again for being with us this week and every week here on YouTube on my channel. Nostalgia time, November 14th, 1984. These are the guys that made the 1984 Olympic team. And that day, November 14, 1984, Madison Square Garden, they all debuted. It was called the Night of Gold at MSG. 6 medalists debut in their pro debuts, included Evander Holyfield, the former heavyweight champ. And there you have Mark Breland, a welterweight champ. Terrell Biggs, former heavyweight, just disappeared. Meldrick Taylor and Pernell Whitaker and Virgil Hill, all won by early knockouts. The only Olympic guys to do this in 1984 win all that gold. And they become pros and knock guys out in their pro debut at Madison Square Garden under the Main Events banner, November 14, 1984. Great Olympic team. Talk about them often here on the program. All those guys, some became heavyweight champions and then had retirement. A couple of them have passed on, including Whitaker, I believe. But a great time in boxing history, November 14, 1984, at Madison Square Garden, where the USA Olympic team that wins all those medals will never be done again, make successful pro debuts. And November 18, 1970, first defense of the World Heavyweight title by the great Joe Frazier. Knocks out Bob Forster in the second round in Detroit at the Cobra Arena. Frazier put Forster down early in the early rounds. Left hook to the jaw that he was great with. Another left. 4 rounds later, Frazier defeats. 4 years later, rather, the great Joe Frazier, the Hall of Famer, the late Joe Frazier, defeats Muhammad Ali, the great Muhammad Ali, in what was known then as, the fight of the century. November 18, 1970, when fights were championship rounds of 15, not 12, as they are today, when the heavyweight division was the face of boxing, which is almost there today, but not when you had the great names in the heavyweight division. And those two, Joe Frazier, Bob Forster, just 2 of them, of course, with the great late Muhammad Ali. Finally, I want to leave you with this, and maybe more in the weeks to come, but let me flash it on the screen. I have a momentous item here. HBO Boxing, as I said earlier, if you could see this, closed shop almost a decade ago, and I was able to get, it's been in my library for years. It's an HBO Sports 25 Years of Boxing. It's a great book, great photos of the great fighters who were part of HBO boxing history. And if you grew up or remember watching HBO boxing, you saw these guys. I don't think it's showing right on the screen. Maybe I'll take images and show you next week. I'd like to give this away. So if you, one loyal viewer out there watching this, wants this, because I'm not going to sell it, I'd rather give it to one of my loyal viewers. But it's in great shape, HBO Sports collectible, 25 years of boxing. Perhaps I'll screenshot it and show it to you here on the program next week. Anyone have an interest in it, let me know. Send me a text, get me on Facebook, Rich Mancuso, or on X, Twitter, Ring786. I'd be happy to ship it to you at no cost because it's just sitting here on my desk doing nothing, and it's a great historic book to have. And on that note, I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks, Scott Churston, for being with me again this week. He puts up with me each and every week, and he does, with String Punk Entertainment. And also, again, to Keith Cologne, fighting November 30th, and Tommy D, giving their great insights on this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson extravaganza. That's all it is, a spectacle tomorrow night in Dallas, Texas on Netflix. Going to do great numbers. They feel it's good for boxing. I don't think so. The undercard is worthy of watching it. More so, Serrano and Taylor, the anticipated rematch from Madison Square Garden 2 years ago. That's the one that I have interest in. Okay? Next week, more to come. Stay in touch. As I tell you all each and every week, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and God bless. This is Rich Mancuso. Thanks for watching. Grateful Hour. This is Keep It in the Ring. See you next week.